Good morning. Welcome to EXSIN Live. It's Dave and Phil. And guess what? If you don't know where you're going in your personal life, you'll never get there professionally. Today, we're going to talk about your personal vision. What does that mean? What questions should you ask? And how should you fill that out, Phil? What do you think?
Well, I think you hit it right on the head. You know, I think too many times people think they can separate their personal and their business.
Ain't happening.
Doesn't work. They're too intertwined. Our lives are completely intertwined professionally and personally. So if you don't have a clear personal vision that aligns professionally, and if you don't have a business vision that aligns personally, you're going to go nowhere.
So your vision in your life is your bucket list, right? Where do you want to go? And we're going to talk about this a little later, but my beautiful bride always says, this is for home projects, if we write it down, we get it done.
Yep.
If we don't write it down, it sits and festers forever in the house. So just to let you folks know, I have a huge list of stuff to do that I'm always checking off, and she always adds to it, but it gets done because another list is over my head to be done. It's the same thing with your personal life and your dreams and goals and passions, right?
Yep.
So your personal vision is set in the future, 3, 5, 10 years typically. It's clear and concise, keep it short. Where do you want to go? It embodies who you are at the core, your core values, and how you want people to think of you, right?
It should make you excited. It should make you a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Should scare you a little bit.
Absolutely.
If it doesn't scare you a little bit, you're probably not stretching yourself enough.
Don't make it easy.
So, and I know this is true. We use a lot of assessments at EXSIN, but one of the assessments I'm getting ready to redo, because it's been about 10 years since I took it, and I'm just curious. So I'm gonna take it again. SPQ Gold. I'm gonna take it again. And I guarantee you, it will look different than the last time I took it.
Well, if you grow and change, if you put the effort in, you grow and change. Yep. Your personal vision is authentic to you, and it's grounded in your passions and desires of what you want to do to bring your unique greatness to the world. You see, we're all put here for a purpose. And once we understand what that purpose is and we work towards that purpose, it's unbelievable what you can accomplish.
We walked out of a meeting either yesterday or the day before. I can't remember. They've all run together, and I looked at you and I said, I love this stuff.
Yep.
Yep. And that's what we're talking about. When you find something that you truly love doing, that you truly are passionate about, Dave, many years ago, he put something on my cell phone. It's our screen bill. And it's got our logo on it and then a saying that Dave typed out. And every time I see that, it motivates me. So it is these little things, right? It's not just the big things. It's little things. Share your personal vision with those people closest to you. Let them know. Well, you're doing two things. Number one, you're sharing, which is always good with the people that are closest to you in your life. But also, you've just publicly said, this is something that's important to me, and I'm going to work towards doing this. So you get, whether you want it or not, after you do that, there's a little accountability there. And most things work great when there's accountability attached. And another word for accountability is ownership. And you get that ownership of that personal vision, of those goals, beautiful things happen.
Well, if you don't write it down and have it in front of you, a personal vision board per se, you're not accountable to it. If you don't know what those things are you want to do in your life, you aren't accountable to it. You can't be. It's in
wishing.
Your head.
Yeah, you're wishing.
You're hoping and praying, which is no way to glean success. So you start this process and just get a piece of notebook paper and slow this down on YouTube and walk through. But the first thing you're going to ask yourself is, what are my strengths? Where do I think I'm good? And then what I'm going to ask you, after you do this, I want you to bounce this off somebody, see if they agree with you.
Yep. Yeah, because I promise you there's going to be a couple things you're going to learn. You're going to realize you're good at things that you don't really think about. Probably more importantly, you're going to learn that you're not good at things that you think you're good at.
You thought you were the man or woman at, and you're not. And it's humbling, but it's important to have the 360-degree look at yourself to know really what you perceive and what other people perceive, because what you perceive probably isn't the same as other people think.
Well, I think too, one thing I've learned over the years, and I kind of do this myself. I live in a small community, and Dave knows this. I've always, people always come and say, well, what do you do? I've lived here forever. And I smile. I was just at a chamber event. And you go around and say, who are you with and what do you do? And I came to me and I said, Phil Nichols, EXSIN, but most importantly, I carry heavy things for Chris Evans with Guthrie News Page. I'm one of those guys that just, work is work and my home is my home. And I try to keep things a little bit of separation there. And so one of the good things about having a personal vision is you can kind of craft out how do you want your life to go?
Yeah.
What's the blueprint for your life? You can be fun Phil and business Phil.
Chambers supposed to be business Phil.
And fun Phil.
All right.
Yeah.
But those are your core friends. Too.
Yeah.
A good group of people.
Little different chamber deal.
Yeah, Guthrie Chamber's nice. It's a very tight-knit group of folks.
Yep.
Great people here from Guthrie. The next one you're going to ask yourselves, what are my weaknesses? And this is hard because we think we're good at everything and we're not. Make sure you write it down again, 360 view of what you want to do.
They put together a list of all my weaknesses. They're all in this book.
That's the summary.
Oh, this is the summary. It's not the actual book. It's a summary. There's a lot of them for me, believe me. And I don't, I think one of the things that's really important to understand is that we all have those areas we can improve in. We all have those areas we can get better at.
That's a fact.
If this is important to you, and this is the first key ingredient, it's got to be important to you. Then you can address those and you can have, marked improvement in those areas. If you're just telling yourself they're important to you, then you won't write them down. You won't share them. You won't do all those things, and you'll know if they're really important or not to you.
That's a fact. Well, Darren Hoggett here from the Oklahoma VetWorks Coalition and the VA for the state of Oklahoma, Veterans Affairs Group for Oklahoma. And he asked a question. You don't know what you don't know. Darren, you are 100% right. And more importantly, Darren, happy birthday. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday, brother.
His birthday's today?
It's today. Happy
29.
Birthday. And
29 years old again.
We're excited for you. I hope you have a great day planned. They don't keep you in the office all day. That's cool. The next thing you need to ask yourself is, what are my core values? What do I stand for, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't know your values, you're welcome, brother. If you don't know your values, then it's gonna be a hard time to navigate life. And I would tell you that if you don't have a set of core values, you figure them out pretty quickly.
Well, and I think that's one thing that makes, it takes all types, right? And Dave and I have, just to use us as the guinea pigs, we approach things in different ways, but where we're trying to get to, we align perfectly. True?
Fair. Yep.
I mean, so, maybe not perfectly. Maybe that's too bold of a statement, but I think it's perfectly.
I think it's perfectly.
Okay, good. So I just wanted to hear you say perfectly. So no, but I think it's important that there's not any one right way to get there. There's, you got to check the boxes on, is it ethical? Is it legal? Is it the right thing to do? You check all those boxes. And if it's not if it isn't those things, then you don't do them. But if you check those boxes, there's a lot of ways you can get to where you want to be. The key is of this personal vision, it helps you give you that roadmap, that blueprint, that track to follow to get where you want to be. I mean, so there's a variety of ways you can get there.
That's a fact. So the next thing you want to ask yourself is, what does my dream life look like? Family, friends, etc. And I'm going to give you an example for me because this is really simple. My dream life is somewhere near the water where the community looks at me as a trusted advisor, where I can help people grow their business and do great things. And I have a loving wife and caring kids that I get to spend time with, and they're my priority. That is my dream life. It's really simple. And that's what I'm working towards today.
Yep.
That's what Phil and I want to do, is we're working towards our dream life today every day so we can help other people, and we're loved by our families, and we have time to spend with our family and friends.
Yeah. And I think, and Dave hit it right on the head. I mean, I think most people, I mean, it's a broad brush statement, that want to have a good life with their family and be able to spend time and be valued. But most people aren't willing to do the hard work it requires to get there. Well,
so that's the next question. What will my day-to-day activities at work be, even if they're the same day? And the question is you may have a goal, but if you're not willing to put the effort in to get to that goal, you're never going to get there. And you need to ask yourself that question. Am I willing to do what I need to do to get to where I want to be? If not, then you need to adjust your lifestyle.
Dave and I have one of our favorite phrases is embrace the suck. Embrace it. There's going to be some of those things that you have to do on a daily basis that you don't enjoy 100% of. It's part of it. I am on a quest to get healthier. I got to have a little knee procedure in December. But so what I'm doing now is I'm taking steps now to change habits, bad habits that I've established with my diet, with exercise, so that I'm going into the surgery better shape than I am now, so that I can recover more quickly and do those things. So, you got to embrace the suck. Do I want to have knee replacement surgery? I can't believe a guy my age, 33, has to have a knee replacement already.
Well, Phil, when you're guys like us, body parts fail at a younger age.
They do fail at a
because
younger
we asked them to do things when we were younger that we shouldn't have asked them to do, and now we're paying for it.
That is true.
If you're not wondering, getting over 50, if you've been competitive your whole life,
oh boy,
you got to be pretty tough to be over 50 because the things are going to happen. You're like, what in the world?
That check engine light comes on.
Yes, it does.
It comes
so
on.
take care of yourself
Yeah.
when you're in your 20s, because you're going to pay for it in your 50s.
Yeah, but I think to your point, you've got to do the day-to-day activities. You got to have consistency in what you're doing to get the end result, that you want. I mean, you can't do it one day a week. You can't do it every once in a while. It's got to be something that you wake up. And that's why being passionate about what you're doing is so important, because that's going to carry you through those tougher days. And there will be tough days.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no nirvana out there, right, where everything's right every day and perfect and everything goes your way. It just doesn't exist. And if people are telling you it does, they're full of crap. I mean, it just doesn't exist. That doesn't mean you waller in pity. You don't. But if you have a process and you're consistent and you know what's important to you, you're going to get through those tougher days much easier.
Now, Phil, I'm going to get a little biblical here on you,
okay?
Because I've been doing a devotional that talks just about this.
I like that.
And we talk about trying times. Trying times are those times in our life where we're supposed to learn lessons, get stronger, and become better. They're not there to punish us. They're not there to make life miserable. They're there for you to look at and go, okay, it's tough. It's hard.
Yep.
But it's part of the process. And if you think about all the times in your life of your greatest growth, when did they come? You say it all the time.
When you struggles,
when
you have pain.
When you have pain in your life, whether it's working out, whether it's business pain, whether it's losing money,
personal pain,
you're going to learn if you're smart.
Yep.
And you take it for what it is. It's an opportunity to learn and grow.
Yep.
You're going to grow. So don't look at those challenging times in your life as a negative thing. Flip it and go, what can I learn from this? How am I going to get better? And what are the next steps after this?
Well, and I think, I look back on my own life when I was a young boy, when I was a boy. There was a special young lady in my life, and it's just safe to say that I wasn't the smartest guy in the world. I didn't make the best decisions.
You make decisions of a teenager.
Right. Yeah. So 30 some years later, I have a conversation with her and she says something and she goes, why? And I go, well, it's called being an idiot 17-year-old kid. I mean, people evolve. Right. And I think that's the key thing is, are you getting better every day? Are you trying to become a better person? Are you trying to become a better husband, wife, son, brother, sister, daughter, friend, business professional? Are you taking steps to move the needle in a positive way? Well,
Darwin says it best: evolve or become extinct.
Yeah.
He doesn't say those words exactly, but that's basically the foundation of Darwin. Either you're going to evolve to the world you live in and become better, or not.
Yeah.
And not, you're going to wither away and die. I mean, that's the reality of it. So let's work on evolving as people.
Yeah.
The next thing you need to think about is, how much money do you need? When do you want to retire? And how much money do you need to live the lifestyle you want to live? And what are you doing math-wise to get yourself there?
Yeah, math's important. Math
is important.
You say that all the time. That's one of your favorite sayings. Math is important. And it is. What are those things? I've got friends that that the number they need isn't nearly as big, because for what they're wanting, they're very content and happy. I think there's this great lie that's told out there that everybody that there's a certain measurement you have to hit to be successful or to be content. And that's not true. It's different for every person out there. I know people that make buckets of cash that are miserable. I know people that make a living that are so happy and content in life. Happier, it's ridiculous.
I know people like that are happier in most cases because they found their passion and what they love, and they get to do their passion every day. So it's not about the value, the money. It's more about, am I doing something I love? And if you have a true passion in life, the sooner you can get to working on that passion and doing that, the better off you're going to be emotionally, physically, everything.
Yeah, we were talking about a client of ours that's at a potential transition in their business life, and it's all good, it's all positive. But I was sitting there thinking, as we were having that conversation, I'm going, well, this sounds like rich people problems, because either way you go, there's not a wrong decision. I mean, they're all good decisions.
And we've dealt with this with a number of clients. Yeah. What's your next steps? What's your succession? When is the succession plan happen? And it's an interesting discussion, because the question is what if you haven't built your personal vision for 10, 20 years out, you don't know where you need to be. You need to write that down, because it may be different than you think in your head when you write it down.
Well, and you can't plan for succession planning if you don't first have a personal vision.
Well, you have no succession plan.
You have no succession plan.
You have no success.
I mean, so there's this, it is a process. And I know processes are boring. There's nothing sexy about them. And everybody like, blah, people talking about processes. The reason why everybody talks about processes is that they work. I mean, that's the reason why people are always talking about processes. They work.
I don't have time for that, Phil. I'm busy.
Yeah, I'm too busy. I'm too busy over here fighting the alligators to have a solution to where there are no alligators.
That is a fact. So here's the next thing I want you to do. And this is going to help you determine the amount of money you need to make to live the life that you want to live. So what are your top 10 bucket list items?
Yeah.
Write them down and put a price by them. Because there's things that we want to do in life, and there's a cost associated with those things. And if you don't do that, you're not going to know what you need to make to get there and how long it's going to take.
It doesn't matter. You can ignore all these things and you're going to wake up and you're going to realize a lot of things passed me by, not because you weren't capable, not because you didn't have the abilities or it really comes down to you just failed to prepare. You failed to take these simple steps to help you get better in life, to help you make you more successful with your friendships, your family, your business relationships. So having a bucket list is extremely important. The big thing left on my bucket list, I have one major thing on my bucket list. I don't even know if you and I have ever talked about this, but my wife and I, we've been blessed to have a lot of kids by choice over our lives. And we've always talked about having a mini little boys town, right? Yep. Like having a place. Well, most of our friends would tell us we guys did have boys town. You just didn't have all the houses. You had one house where you had all the kids. But that's something that's really important to me because it's legacy. I'm at the stage of my life where I'm thinking about legacy. Yep. So when I'm done and nobody has to put up with me anymore, what do I leave behind that makes the world a better place? And I think those are the kind of things that you can get excited about. So that might be something that's on your bucket list, something like that. But I think a lot of people, especially when you get to a certain age, you just start thinking about that. I mean, I got a lot of years left. I know you got a lot of years left because that's just how we're wired. Yep. But there's still times in your life, ages in your life where you start thinking about these different things. And I think when you're 30, it's tough to think about legacy, right? Because you're really planning, you're starting to harvest. You're doing the stuff, so whatever your bucket list looks like, this is a cool exercise. And now remember, first thing, you got to be honest about it. Don't put down what you think you should put down. Put down what is really in your heart and what is really important to you in your core.
So I'm gonna jump in here and I'm gonna share some old man wisdom with you. Okay? Oh boy. And Phil and I are both in the same boat, but everybody knows that listens to us that I did a 23-year career in the military. I had kids during that time. I did 17 deployments, right? Yep. There are things that you look back on in your life because you have seasons in your life. You have the season when your children are little and before they walk. You have the season when your children start school. You have a season when your children go to high school and when they want to kill sports. And and then you have a season when they're out of the house, right? And when that season comes, I'm going to tell you, because I'm there right now. As of this year, I am there this fall. And you're going to look back on your life and you're going to have some disappointments in yourself that you didn't make yourself as available as you could because you didn't write down what your vision was. Yeah. And you're going to try to make up for it. You are. It's the reality of life. So if you're listening to this right now, I want you to take this seriously. Write down that vision for you and your family and what you want it to be and where you want to be. And I want you to start executing it today. Because if you're 25, 30, dude, you have the rest of life ahead of you. If you're 50, it's slow. You're in the second half. It's a running joke. There was a second half meeting at the Cowboy Hall of Fame this weekend. I
feel like I'm in the fourth quarter.
And I asked my wife if she'd go with me, and she goes, "I'm not in my second half. You go by yourself."
That checks, man. I was like, that checks.
Well, that's fair, but
that checks.
Geez,
yeah,
kick me in the face. But seriously, if you're in the first half of your life right now, make it count.
Yeah,
and you're gonna. And I'm not saying I didn't make it count. I did. But there are things that you look back on that personally you could have done better.
Because everything comes at a price.
Yes, everything comes at a price.
I mean, Dave, I'll say this, Dave won't. Dave's spent a life of service to his country and really to the world, to all of our allies, where he was gone more than he was home. He paid a price to serve our nation, which I have the utmost respect for this man for that, but for many reasons. But I think it comes at a price. You miss birthdays, you miss anniversaries, you miss going to sporting events, you miss these little things. And that's the stuff Dave's talking about. You know, he's got 2 incredible kids and obviously an incredible wife, but they all pay a price. And so nothing's free, you know, and that's the thing you got to kind of reconcile with yourself is, am I willing to pay the price to have this? Am I willing to pay the price to do this? You know, there's no free lunches. I know everybody likes to think there is. There is none. Somebody's paying a price somewhere. So you've got to be honest with yourself when you look at those things.
That's a deep conversation, Phil. Look, that's emotional and personal today.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just glad I didn't do anything crazy when I was young.
You're crazy.
I just had a normal, boring life.
Phil only raised most of Logan County when he was out here. So don't let him lie to you. All right. So with that, EXSIN Live. Dave and Phil, you guys have a great rest of your week. We will see you next week. We are out of here.